Good afternoon. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak coming to you live from Keeneland Racecourse. They drew the Bluegrass Stakes earlier this morning, a 14-horse field. Most likely your morning line favorite is going to be Uncaptured. And I'm joined in this video by SB Nation's Joe DePaul.
How are you, sir? Good to finally, do our very first meeting. Jared and I, of course, are radio colleagues. We team up on the Fast Track radio program each Saturday and Sunday, or in my case, just Saturday. We had Molly Jo Rosen on the team as well, hosted by the immortal Steve Bortstein, who sadly could not be here with us today. But yeah, we've shared a time slot for 2+ years, and today our very first meeting. We have some fun in Keeneland, great racing today, and my first look at the facility, Jared, I don't know about you when you first came here, I was just blown away by the quality of the spectacle, the majesty of the place. It is gorgeous. It's unbelievable, and it's a great place to watch some racing, and it's a great place on Saturday to do some big-time Derby prep racing.
It definitely is. I've been to Keeneland one other time in 2001 with my friend, another friend Joe, who happened to be here as well today that I got to meet up with.
We travel in packs.
Exactly. So now I live in Kentucky, so it was nice to come back and see Keeneland again. Our colleague Steve Bortstein, he likes Uncaptured. What do you think of this?
Does he? Yes. Well, normally, yeah, that's the case. Whenever Steve is on a horse, that means everyone else should exit stage left. But no, in this case, I kid Steve about his selections. It's interesting we talk about Uncaptured, who was installed as the choice on Mike Battaglia's line, he wheels back pretty quickly off of the spiral. Curious what you think about that. You're going poly to poly here, which is interesting given his success at Churchill Downs, conventional dirt surface, that Mark Casse has made it a point here to try the poly twice. Is very interesting to me, and obviously you have a point situation here. You want to make sure you get enough if you're Uncaptured. It's on the fence right now, in the low teens, I believe, in the standings. But he's going to get, he figures to get a decent trip in here. You're talking about a runner who, basically he's going to sit just off of what should be an honest but not spectacular pace. He should sit the Garden Trip right in the second flight. It looks really good for him, but I have concerns. That he didn't get by in the spiral did kind of raise a red flag for me a little bit. I don't know how you felt about it, but I just felt like at the top of the lane, he took dead aim, and he just couldn't get past Black Onyx and went on to win the race. And going forward, I have questions. You wonder if he lacks the tenacity to get the job done in a big spot. He'll have to do it tomorrow on Saturday against a field that probably is on par with the one, or perhaps a little better than the one that he saw a couple of weeks ago in Florence.
Yeah, that's probably true. And he had some foot problems earlier. After his juvenile campaign, he started to have some foot problems, and they had to shuffle his schedule around. He was supposed to run in the Sam Davis, and he ended up missing that. So then the trainer, I think he decided to keep him on all-weather surfaces, training and running, so that it would be easier on his feet. And we'll see how all that ends up working out for him in the Derby. But if he finishes in the top 3, I guess he'll have enough points to qualify. But I wouldn't take a short.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to have to negotiate here. Even though you do get the full field of 14, you're talking about something in the vicinity of the price that Mike Battaglia tagged him at this morning, and just that's the issue. That's the issue. Why limit yourself when there are so many other viable options in here? I think we agree that this is a pretty wide open event.
It definitely is. And he also, his last start as a juvenile was the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. That's been a negative race. We've seen a lot of races like the Remsen, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the Kentucky Jockey Club, the Cash Call Futurity, all of the late season races for 2-year-olds. None of those horses have come back and won a graded route as a 3-year-old. So that's something else that we should consider. Seems like some of the other horses have jumped up and run well. Breaking down on the inside, Dynamic Sky looks a little interesting. He was 4th in the Tampa Bay Derby, and he was 2nd in the Breeders' Futurity in Keeneland as a 2-year-old.
And a horse has really impressed me, and he goes out also for Mark Casse in here. The second runner here for Casse, and you look at his past performance line. Okay, he was beaten a city block by Verrazano last time in Tampa. past that, though, if you go back a little bit, you're going to see some pretty impressive form. You're going to see a really good second here at this track over against, lost just the length to Joha in the Breeders' Futurity last year in a Grade 1. So you're talking about a runner, I mean, you know, you've seen some nice things from him. He's finished ahead of Java's War, who figures to be second choice in here. We'll get to him in a second. He's finished ahead of Java's War several times. Java's War turned the tables in Tampa and was coming late with a rush. So we'll talk about him in a second. But to me, you know, he's going to get the same trip that Captured is going to get. And now you're talking about riders here at this point, because I'm trusting Joel Rosario at this point, who is as hot as a firecracker, and Shug McGahee wisely announced earlier that he's going to be the man to pilot Orb on the first Saturday in May. So you can't go wrong with the way he's riding here on the grounds today. He won 3 races, so you know, he should set that same trip. And you know, I just think when it comes down to it, he's going to outfox Miguel Mena, and I think that's what it might come down to. I think they're horses of equal ability, and the prices will not be similar. You're going to get a better price on Dynamic Sky.
Well, that's a good way of doing it. Rosario, he rode well at Gulfstream this year. He won the Dubai World Cup, and now he's just carrying the momentum right into Keeneland, and he's a better price of the Cassie horses, so I don't blame you for going that way. We should talk about Java's War. You were mentioning him. I think he's going to be the wise guy horse, coming off that second place finish in that Tampa Bay Derby, and he was 3rd in the Breeders' Futurity here.
And a runner that, you know, had that wise guy closed. And, you know, that's the kind of horse the wise guy gravitates towards. That little, you know, that move, you know, against, you know, a big time runner, you know, a good second. Like, you hear the way people are talking about Normandy Invasion after the Wood last week. You know, the same kind of buzz is being generated around Java's War, who, listen, is a solid runner. You know, he was a bomb in Tampa on the board, and he shouldn't have been, you know, if you look at his past performances, because he really is a horse in the class of a Dynamic Sky, or in that group, you know, and he got completely overlooked at the Toten. You know, he deserved better than that. For him, my question is, can he come from the clouds here? He's going to have to. I don't see this pace being suicidal. It was a pretty hot pace in Tampa. He's not going to get that on Saturday. Very curious to see how he handles it, both tomorrow and going forward, because I don't think that running style bodes well on the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, and he was a long shot in Tampa, and now everybody's kind of on him, so if you weren't on him there, maybe you should.
It's the classic adage of, if you weren't there for the wedding, don't be there for the funeral. It's that kind of deal, and yeah, I mean, you know, buyer beware on him, but certainly one who can do it.
Definitely balance the books. He disappointed in the Spiral. He was 11th. He was highly regarded. He was in my Derby top 10 list for a long time, but maybe he's just a turf horse. We'll have to see. He disappointed there, but Chad Brown said earlier on he trained well on synthetic, and he's going to give him one more shot, and maybe he can do something here. He showed a lot of ability coming from off the pace in turf races, but can he do it on synthetic?
I was really disappointed not to see Noble Tune in this spot for Chad Brown. It certainly seemed like that was the way that Chad was going to go here. Last minute they call the audible when they put Balance the Book here, who, listen, wheels back, another wheeling back very quickly from that Spiral. You know, and this is second off the layoff here. Last year's form was superb. You hit the big question, absolutely. It's a surface. Can he do it on the synthetic? But, you know, and this is where, and this is a big thesis of yours. I hear you talking about it all the time, and it's amazing how this goes overlooked by even the most astute of handicappers. All synthetic courses are not equal. They're not made equal. This is not the same course here at Keeneland that he saw at Turfway. It's just not. He could absolutely adapt. I mean, you can't throw him out off with a one performance. And you know, he certainly figures to be a player, though. Another, though, that said, who's going to need a little luck, because he's going to drop back pretty far in the pack early.
He's probably more likely to hit the board if he does anything, and if he's like 20 or 30 to 1, I'm throwing him in your tries and supers. I would give him another shot at that price, because he was highly regarded going into the Spiral. Some others in here, Rydillic, he's another one highly regarded, but the surface is a question for him. He ended up winning the Palm Beach Stakes last time, and now they're going to